let's get a bit more tech savvy as we cross to Kansas City and Burton Kelso, Chief Tech Expert at Integral in Kansas City. So, a good morning to you.
Good evening to you.
Oh, good evening, Burton.
How are you?
We're just admiring your rather fabulous name. Is that your born name? Or is that a stage name?
No, it's a born name.
That
was named.
Amazing.
Thank you. I like your name too.
Oh, look, hang on. Burton Kelso is just brilliant. I mean, it honestly sounds like a superhero or a super cop. Anyway, let's talk Metaverse, because this is a universe of data. I don't know what it is. You're going to have to tell me. Who's using it now? What is it used for? Why? Why do we need it?
We don't.
Good. Let's get rid of it.
In the interview, right? No, seriously. Seriously, the Metaverse is just one of the many forms of virtual reality on the internet. You have forms of Metaverse like Fortnite, Roblox, and even Minecraft. Basically, the Metaverse is just a virtual world for grown-ups that has a goal into uniting us virtually. So you will get the gameplay, you will get online concerts, you'll be able to conduct business through the Metaverse. But in my honest opinion, I think Meta makes the Oculus, right? So I think this may be a ploy for them to sell more Oculus units, since Apple has kind of cashed in on their app stealing thing. And I'm just saying that jokingly, but there are some practical purposes to the Metaverse. And I mean, it's pretty interesting, all the things that could happen if the public embraces the Metaverse.
I mean, I find it vaguely terrifying that I mean, already through COVID, we sort of sped up the idea that we don't have to be in the same room to have a relationship or a meeting or whatever. That's kind of really pushed that forward through COVID and lockdowns and things. But the idea that I could have an avatar that went for a meeting with your avatar, and we could sit down at a pretend table and hash out a business deal called Kelso Electronics, is just kind of weird to me. It's just pushing human interaction further and further away.
Yeah, it really is. But I mean, we are physical creatures, so I think there are some of us that could live in the virtual world, but then us touchy-feely people, I don't think that we would ever embrace the Metaverse completely. Now, there are applications where it could come in handy, like virtual work. So, for example, if you've donned your pair of goggles or your headset and you've got your little handheld things, there is some interaction, because obviously you've got the meta world around you, so you can see your environment, you can interact with your avatars. But just in a business standpoint, I think it would work. But just from an everyday standpoint, I just don't think that the Metaverse will just encompass everything, where we're like that scene from WALL-E where you've got the boatload of people that are just sitting on their headsets, just interacting with everything but each other. I think that will never happen.
I hope that will never happen, but it does appear that our children are more versed with it than we were. They're kind of being brought up with it. You know, it may not be the metaverse as such, but my son, when he was younger, I'd hear him talking to kids via some game he was playing in Japan or in Canada or wherever it was. I would never have thought of that would have been possible. But we're kind of training children and young people that they don't have to have that human contact anymore.
You're exactly right, because my boys have this issue with Roblox. I mean, they're on their laptops on a daily basis interacting with kids all over the world. Yeah. And you have to think about, what is the internet trying to train our future generations to do? Because think about it, in Roblox and in Fortnite and even in Minecraft, you do have verbal exchanges. You can chit chat back and forth, but you also have money exchanges too. Like you've got Roblox you got Robux on Roblox. I forget what it is in Fortnite, but it seems like the whole industry is trying to train the future generation to become more of a virtual society than a real life society. And that's something that parents really need to take a step back and think about that. Do we really want our kids in that type of world?
I mean, that it is really, really worrying I believe that's what's happening, is that there's some kind of drive to this form of human isolation. The question is, I'm not quite sure why. What is the benefit? I mean, to governments, a population that is at home in a virtual world are easier to control than populations who walk out on the street and may be subject to crime or take part in, an accident, costing money with health services, etc., etc. But what's in it for the metaverse?
Well, for Meta, it's obviously if you get more companies to invest in Meta, then they own our larger scale of what's called their metaverse. I mean, obviously right now, companies like, Roblox and Fortnite, they're doing a heck of a job because they've got millions of subscribers from all over the world. But I mean, ultimately, it benefits Meta. It helps Meta. I always want to call them Facebook, and I think they always will be Facebook to me.
They'll always be call them Facebook. That's fine by me. Let's call them Facebook. That would really annoy them.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll be shut down.
Benefits them. It benefits them. They're trying to make it seem like the metaverse is just going to be encompassing the internet, and it's not. It's just one small puzzle piece in the grander scale that's going to benefit them. So the more companies that they can attract to, interact in the metaverse, and it just means more billions of dollars for Zuckerberg and everyone else associated with Facebook.
But in terms of a future where people are, living in a pod, just living their whole world through some kind of virtual world. I mean, presumably then the companies will be advertising virtually. You'll be able to buy stuff virtually. So, instead of owning a car, you buy a virtual car. Is that the idea?
Obviously. Well, I shouldn't say obviously, but yes, that is the idea. It's just like the way Facebook is now, where they can track your cookies and see where you've been on other websites on the internet. And then they can target advertising to you. I mean, basically, Google and Facebook are just ad companies. I mean, the whole idea is to be able to target to their users what they want. So, I mean, they can look at my profile and figure out what things I like. And the same thing with you, Petra. I mean, that's the whole goal, is to attract advertisers.
I know. I mean, all I do is get adverts for drywall installation at the moment, because that's my world right now, is a drywall installation. So I mean, but they are aware of that because of, if I'm looking at, I need a new tap for my bath or whatever, and then I'm just inundated with those, and all I've done is gone to a company website. I haven't even Googled it. I've gone to a company and said no to all the cookies, and yet I still get sent nothing but plumbing for the next 3 weeks.
It could be this thing too, that you may be just talking around it and it'll just pick up tap or drywall. And the next thing you know, you're inundated with ads from home improvement places. Yeah. I mean, I did switch
the ad off, the mic off though, I thought. Can you not? Don't laugh at me. I'm old. Can you not switch the mic off? I've switched off the Siri mic, but is it still listening?
You can still switch it off, but you have to ask yourself, is it really off?
Is it really off?
You're right.
I'm used to a microphone. But the only problem is that if it's on this, because my son's girlfriend, we were chatting the other day, the three of us were having lunch, and I mentioned a newsreader that my son knows, and I said, did you hear she got into a bit of trouble? So I mentioned her name and the bit of gossip, if you like. It was an on-air thing, so it wasn't private. And the next day, my hopefully daughter-in-law messaged me and said, TikTok have just sent me the story that you were talking about in the garden, and I never, ever have looked up anything like that. So her phone was clearly listening to our conversation, and she got sent the very clip that I was talking about.
You're not shocked, are you?
I'm horrified. I mean, that's terrible.
It is. And if you think about the metaverse, I mean, just think how much easier it will be to have you be inundated with ads, you know?
I think it's just horrific, but there's nothing we can do. Then they're just gonna mine our data, whatever happens.
All day, every day.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to go. No, there's a special button you can press that makes them go away.
Well, Apple has kind of helped with that. They're into protecting your personal data. I mean, if you have the latest update for your iPhone, there's no way other apps can sneak in or spy on other apps on your smartphone. So yeah, Facebook or Meta was guilty of that up until iOS 15. So there's some help out there.
Yeah, but Apple are only doing it so they can keep it to themselves. It's not like they're doing it to help, really. Look, if there's going to be another heat wave, I mean, obviously you're far too cool for school, Burton, but what gadgets, what do we do about our gadgets overheating? How do we stop
keep them out of, you got to keep them out of direct sunlight and stop leaving them in the boot so they overheat. Some people will throw them in the boot going, oh, well, yeah, it's nice and shaded in there, but it's going to get heat. And these things are sensitive to heat. I'm thinking 90 degrees max is what you want to put it in.
Wow.
So, yeah, you've got to try to keep it indoors or keep it close to your body and just out of direct sunlight and out of the direct radiation. And the other thing I was going to add too, God forbid if you have another heat wave, if your device starts to overheat, don't just throw it in the refrigerator or on ice. Make sure that you allow it to cool down naturally, because if you just throw it in a cool area or in the freezer, you could ruin your device permanently.
Damn it. No, I wasn't going to do that. I see a lot of drivers though with them in the window, and I think you're such an idiot because that is going to burn. Listen, Burton, it's absolutely delightful to have spoken to you this afternoon for you. So let's do it again soon. Burton,
we will.
Yeah, good news. Burton Kelso there, best named person in the world, chief tech expert at Integral in Kansas City.